The small apartment was as humble as ever. Its cracked walls and worn-out furniture seemed unchanged, but inside, life had moved forward. It had been exactly 1 year since Jim and Della had made their great sacrifice, she cutting off her hair to buy him a watch chain, and he selling his watch to buy her jeweled combs. Della sat near the same window where, a year ago, she had counted her coins with trembling hands. This time her hair had grown back into short, soft curls that framed her face. She touched them lightly, remembering how Jim had looked at her with love that night, despite her tears. Jim entered, tired from a long day's work at the shop. His coat was worn thin from winter's bite, his hands red from cold, but his smile was the same. "Another Christmas is upon us," he said warmly, hanging his hat. Della looked up and returned his smile. "Yes, but Jim, what shall we do? We have so little." He laughed softly. "We'll do what we've always done. Love each other enough to forget the rest." Their lives were not easy. Money was short, rent was heavy, and food was plain. Della sometimes sewed clothes for neighbors to earn a few extra pennies, and Jim often stayed late at the shop for a little more pay. Yet despite the hardships, they had grown richer in ways no coin could measure. They now shared small joys: a warm loaf of bread, a single candle at night, laughter over silly things, and hope in each other's eyes. But as Christmas drew nearer, both secretly wished to surprise the other once more. One evening, as Della mended an old coat, she thought, "Last year Jim gave up his watch for me. This year I want to give him something lasting, something from the heart." Meanwhile, Jim, walking home through the snow, thought to himself, "Della deserves something more than old promises. She gave up her hair for me last year. I must show her that her love is my greatest gift." Neither knew that the other was thinking the same thing. For weeks, both began saving in secret. Della took in more sewing than ever, her fingers pricked with needles, her eyes tired from candlelight. Each penny she earned, she slipped into a small cloth pouch hidden under her pillow. Jim began skipping his own lunches at work, quietly pocketing the money instead. Sometimes he came home hungrier, but when Della asked, he would smile and say, "Just not very hungry today." Day by day, coin by coin, their secret savings grew, though never enough for anything grand. But still, their hearts raced with hope. The day before Christmas, a heavy snowstorm fell over New York. Streets glittered white, lampposts glowed faintly through the swirling flakes, and shop windows sparkled with decorations. Della wrapped herself in her thin coat and hurried through the storm, clutching her pouch of coins. She searched store after store, her breath fogging the glass windows. Finally, she found it, a small leather notebook, plain but strong, bound neatly with a strap. She touched it gently. "This," she whispered, "is for Jim. He can write his dreams, his thoughts, his stories. His words are worth more than gold." She spent nearly all her savings on it, her heart full of joy. At the same time, Jim was out in the storm too. His hands numb with cold, he entered a tiny shop that sold handmade items. There, on a small shelf, he saw a wooden picture frame, polished and carved with delicate patterns. Inside, the shopkeeper had placed a simple piece of glass, ready for a photograph. Jim thought of the one picture they owned, taken by a kind neighbor on a summer day, where Della laughed with sunlight in her hair. This, Jim thought, is perfect. So she'll always remember that our love is our true treasure. He paid with every coin he had saved and carried it home, shivering but smiling. That evening, their small apartment glowed with a single candle and the faintest decoration of pine. They had no feast, only bread and a little soup, but in their hearts was a warmth that no fire could match. Della, her cheeks red from the cold, handed Jim a carefully wrapped package. "Merry Christmas, my love." Jim opened it and found the leather notebook. For a moment, he said nothing. Then his eyes filled with tears. "Della, this is more than paper. This is my heart written down. You've given me a place for my dreams." Before she could answer, Jim reached into his coat and brought out his own package. "And this is for you." Della unwrapped it slowly. Inside was the wooden picture frame. She gasped softly, her hand covering her lips. "Our photo," she whispered. "Oh, Jim, this is beautiful." He smiled gently. "So we never forget that Even in our poorest days, we were rich in love. She threw her arms around him, laughing and crying at the same time. The gifts were small, perhaps even or